What's up YouTube? I'm the Nice One, and today we are going to be finishing that Ranger character model we started last week. I'm going to try and finish the arms, the legs, the waist, and the feet, and maybe a few more details to make it more Warhammer Quest Ranger feeling. But yeah, well, I think we're getting super close to finishing this all up, so that's super exciting. As usual, at the bottom here, you should be able to see all of the shortcuts I'm hitting, and I'll try my best to speak as I'm going. And also, there's going to be a base model of this underlying mesh, reference mesh you could use to start. But if you haven't watched the first part, I would suggest doing that. I'll link it in the description. And that way, if you do, we can be starting from the same place. Okay, let's keep going. So I'm going to hide this for a second. And actually what I might do for just super quickly is adjust these arms a little bit so that I have a bit more space to add my additional clothing pieces. So I'll drop it like this, just like that. Perfect. Okay, great. Now, what we'll do is, I think we're just going to make a basic glove. So to do that, I'm trying to imagine what a good glove would look like for a ranger. Maybe something simple, right? Yeah, let's start with something simple. So we'll do a mesh, we'll do a cube, drop it in the front, and then we'll rotate it like this, like that, and maybe scale it up. Actually, you know what? Before I even do that, it might be better if I just bring this over here and then go into edge mode and drop an edge loop right there. And then we'll delete one half of it. We will delete this half right here and add a mirror modifier, one of my favorite functions in this app. And then we're going to select these three faces down here at the bottom, or these two faces, I guess. And we'll turn on clipping, and we will extend it down like this, and then we'll take these edges right here, and we'll do something like that. We'll go back into here, kind of like that. This, and then I think what would be nice is if we go into top view, let's take these guys, these vertices right here, and maybe do something like this to make it a little more round. Yeah, and then let's go into the side view, and let's take this front vertices. Maybe we'll do like a rotate and bring it in so that they sort of bend in a bit more. Rotate, bring it in. Actually, that might not even be need to rotate that much. I'll just bring this in like that. Bring it in like this. Okay, great. That's not bad. Something like that. Okay, bump this up. Add a subdivision surface. And then what we probably could do is add a bevel around this edge right here so that it's a bit sharper. Yeah, perfect. Just like that. Okay, cool. And then I think what we'll do is also bevel this bottom one. Nice. Let's select this middle loop right here. Maybe do something like this. Cool. And we'll bump up the levels of the subdivide. Awesome. And we'll drop another edge loop right here. Maybe take this out just to sharpen it off a touch. Give it kind of like a little edge. Perfect. Now we'll use this as a base for the glove. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of like a little glove cylinder thing right here going right there. We'll drop it right like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good actually. Cool. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. So I think I'll actually bump it up even more, and maybe scale it down on the X, and maybe scale it down on the Y a little to sort of kind of overlap the torso, or like the joint point, the elbow juncture. So it goes like this, and then let's select this guy. Cool. Cool. Nice. You got a very super simple glove going on right there. I think maybe it would be nice to repeat some elements that we see on other parts of the mesh. So I think I'll take this scale, like padded leather piece, and drop it right here. Maybe like that. Drop it right here. Maybe actually if I do something like this, yeah, that looks good. Let me duplicate this around for a second, and then duplicate it again one more time. Yeah, it gives the glove a tiny bit of a trim that I think always looks nice. Nice little extra detail. Okay, great, cool. That looks pretty good. Probably what would be a good idea is to add a little belt right there. But first, I'm gonna finish some things here. I'm gonna be essentially selecting these vertices right here. Yeah, perfect. And we're gonna scale it down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So we got a rough glove piece here that looks pretty good. We're gonna be adding some belts around that. I think that'll look nice too. So let's take, I'm trying to think how best to do this. I guess we could just do it with a cube. We'll take a cube here, and we will add an edge loop down the center, like that. Perfect. And then we will scale it like this. Scale on the X and up. Maybe go to the 3, down, and rotate like that. Maybe bump this up a little bit. Yeah, something like this. Okay, cool. And now we will add 2 more edge loops, one right here, one right here. And then we're just going to essentially be shaping this around a little bit using our box selection tool to kind of give it almost like a cuff. Yeah, like that. Maybe bump this down, rotate it like that. Okay, cool, perfect. Yeah, that's good. Maybe add a subdivide, bump it up. And then what we will do is select this whole loop by Shift-Alt selecting this whole loop. Add a little bevel right there. Add a bevel, sorry, with one loop in the center. Do the same thing for the opposite end. Bevel, a loop in the center. And there we go, cool. Now we got a bit of a trim on our glove. Love that. Let's move these guys a little bit so that the overlapping isn't as harsh. Might even need to scale it down a little more. Oh, move this around. Scale it in. Maybe rotate. Okay, cool. There we go. There we go. Got a rough glove going. Okay, great. That looks pretty good. And I think what I might want to do also is sort of repeat this sort of loop couple times to kind of make it look like belts going around his glove here, or his gauntlet. And then let's scale this in. Yeah, scale it in a little bit. Scale this in a little bit. Maybe move this around. Perfect, cool, sweet. That's pretty good. If I scale this down a little bit, also curves in. Lovely, love that. This might be a little overkill. So the 1 might be just enough. Yeah, I think the 1's enough. Okay, cool. So now we got a glove. We got a simple glove here. It would look kind of cool, actually. I think I would actually like to add these little spiked cylinders. So let's add a cube. This is a little detail I saw recently in some other character designs that I thought were nice. They were like bolts, essentially, that were really long bolts that were on the character's glove or gauntlet. I don't know what purpose they serve, but I thought they looked really cool. So I'm gonna try and do the same thing. So let's merge at last, and then let's take these guys, maybe extrude it up. Yeah, just like that. Bring this in. Then I had a subdivision. Perfect. We'll add an edge loop right here. And then we will also, let's continue bringing this up a little bit. We'll extrude it out one more time to sort of sharpen out the top edge there. Now we will take this and basically put it around the glove, kind of like a little bolt. Yeah, kind of like a bolt that you see attached here. Like a series of bolts, essentially. Yeah, cool. All right, great. So let's duplicate that. Let's bring it down, and then let's duplicate this guy. We'll fix this all up in a second. I just want this in the general position that I like, or I think looks good. And then maybe one more. Yeah, maybe I'll do like 4 bolts here. Awesome. Yeah, cool. That looks great. 4 bolts around his gauntlet. All right, now let's bump this up a little bit so that it overlaps with the bolts a bit more. A bit more. Okay, scale it down. And then maybe, I could probably scale it in on the X to make it thinner, actually. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, something like that. Then maybe duplicate this again at the top here. So that it looks like these bolts are all sort of kept in place. Cool. Yeah. Got kind of like a little bolt gloves, which I think look great. Let's move these around again, just so that they don't overlap as much. Move this guy down a little. Great, cool. That looks pretty sweet, actually. Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. Cool. That looks awesome. All right, great. So now we got a glove done. Probably what we should do is add the back piece. So I think what I'll do is make my life easy and just duplicate this to the back and maybe do a GY, bring it in like that. And then I think I need to sort of rotate it a little bit. So to do that, I will select this right here, do something like this, and maybe even kind of fold it out like that. It's a little different from the front. Bring it in a bit more. There you go. Okay, cool. So let's rotate this hood a bit more. Let's bring it in, kind of like that. And then let's try and fix up the hood for a second. Because I want it to be, there we go, that's perfect. There we go, that feels a lot better. Cool. All right, great. Great, it's coming together. It's coming together decently. Let's take this guy right here and maybe rotate this, rotate like that, maybe hide this thing. It's that thing right there is actually just the reference I have for the base of these characters, because I like to I'm trying to get these 3D printed in resin to use in my game, and I like to have a base reference just so I have an idea of how they will fit and stand on a 32mm base. Okay, cool. That is looking pretty sweet, actually. Yeah, I'm loving that so far. All right, let's keep pushing forward. So I think we're done with the arms and the chest, torso, essentially. Maybe I'll duplicate this one more time. Kind of bring this up like that. Let's scale it like this. Cool. Yeah, I think we're basically done with the top torso and the arms, which is great. About halfway through. So let's try and do the bottom half of this character now. So I think what I want to do is try and drop a how should I approach this? Okay, I got an idea. Let's do it this way. So let's drop a cube. Bring this forward like that. Actually, no, not a cube. It would actually be better to do this with a plane. So let's take the plane, rotate it 90 degrees, bring it up, and then go to my side profile, bring it forward. And then we're gonna go into edge. We're gonna add 2 edge loops, very specifically like this. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going to delete these vertices. And then with the plane selected, we're gonna do not a subdivision, a mirror modifier. And we're gonna make sure clipping is off. Next, we're gonna delete this face right here. And now we have a mirrored mesh that is not joined in the center. This is perfect because now we can start making kind of like a belt around this character. So I'm gonna do something like this and just rough out a general shape. Where is my thing? There it is. So I'm just roughing out a general shape right now. Like that. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So I was just hitting E to extrude and then circling around the character's waist to do that. So now I'm gonna maybe bring these up a little bit to do kind of like a belt, essentially. And then rotate, and now we're gonna tweak it to fit the proportions that we like. Obviously, you don't have to follow the base mesh I gave y'all. If you want to follow whatever you're using or something, you want to do a different kind of proportion, by all means. I'm just using, I find base meshes to be very helpful when it comes to these things. I feel like make my life easier when it comes to positionality of everything. So let's bump these up a little bit. Yeah, cool. That looks pretty good. Scale it down. Okay, great. Now let's select the whole thing and we'll extrude. Hit E, right click to basically end the extrusion scaling, and hit S to scale on a different axis. So we'll do that. And we'll move it around like this and give it the thickness that we're always going for. And then there we go. So That looks pretty good, I think. Yeah. Cool, perfect. Perfect. Nice. Now we'll add a little subdivision to finish off this guy's belt. We'll do edge select and we'll select this entire loop. Add a little bevel right here. Do the same thing, add a bevel. Perfect. Now let's make sure we save our work so that it doesn't crash on us again like it has been before, which was always frustrating. And there we go. Cool. Now we got a kind of a little rough belt going on for this character. Yeah, I love that. That looks great. I'm trying to imagine what kind of... I kind of want to keep the bottom simple, if I'm honest with you. So, to do that, what I think we'll do is... what would look cool? Okay, I have an idea. I think what we're going to do is kind of like flaring, kind of like it's like these flaring fabric underneath, and then just basic boots and pants underneath that. So to do that, I think what we'll do is let's get a plane. Let's get another plane. Or even before that, I kind of want to add a little bit more detail to this belt piece. So I think what we'll go for is, how should we approach this? Okay, I think the way we'll approach this is we'll add another plane, rotate X, G, Y, like this, and then bring it forward. Perfect, cool. Because this character has like a bit of a motif of belt loops, I'm gonna continue that here at the waist, and I'm gonna do a mirror modifier. Let's see, mirror, and then we will take this edge essentially, and we're just gonna go. We're just gonna extrude it around. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to get it perfect. You don't need to try and get it perfect the first time. You just need to get it in the general, get it roughly correct. Let's make sure we turn back on clipping, and there we go. Snap it together here. All right, perfect. Now that we have that rough shape, let's move it around a little bit so that it overlaps a bit more sensibly around this sort of, I don't really even know what to call this. Kind of like a, I guess it's kind of like a, it's like double belts, I guess. Kind of like padded leather armor belts, you know, kind of protecting the lower torso area, the abdomen. I feel like it ends up looking kind of looks like a wrestling belt if you follow wrestling. Not that I do, but they always have this giant buckle in the center that looks very huge and braggadocious. So I feel like this thing right here is reminding me of that a little bit. Anyway, this is looking good. I think I want to scale it up a bit more, like that. Yeah, that's perfect. Now, let's take this mesh and select all the faces and extrude. Just like that. We'll extrude on the X, like this. Yeah, cool. That looks great. Okay, awesome. Now, let's rotate a little bit and maybe move it down right here. Add a subdivision surface, and then we'll add a buckle. We'll add a buckle at the end. Okay, cool. That's looking pretty cool. That's looking pretty cool. You know what? Actually, let's add a buckle right now. Screw it. Let's go cube. We'll drop one right here. We'll scale this on the X like that. Then we'll add a couple of edge loops that we need. One here, and one more right here. Next up, we'll select the object and reduce it like this. And then we'll take these two faces, extrude in like that, and you've got a rough shape of a belt buckle. Add a subdivision, and then maybe tweak it as you see fit. So maybe I'll go for more of like a Western look for this one, something like this. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, cool. That looks great. Perfect. Maybe add an edge loop right here to sharpen it, and then maybe take these guys right here and rotate and bring it out like that. Done. Do it later. We do this now. Okay, cool. So let's bring this forward just like that. Cool. Perfect. Now we got a little belt buckle. A belt buckle right here on his lower torso. So this is come together really nicely. I gotta say, I'm really happy with it so far. Obviously, we're only working on one half because we're gonna mirror all this onto the opposite side to get that perfect symmetry, but it's looking really good so far. So next up, I think what we'll do is, yeah, let's make a let's make the underlying sort of fabric that overlaps its legs. To do that, we're going to run a plane like this, bring it up like that, and then go to 3, maybe bring it forward a little bit, and then hide this guy. Nope, not that guy. Hide this guy. And then, honestly, I think we'll approach this a little differently. I think we'll just make it without any mirror modifiers or anything. And then we will mirror it on the opposite side. So let's take this and go something like that. Essentially, I'm just extruding out to make kind of like a skirt, half skirt. Yeah, that looks great. Now let's take this top loop. Let's bring it up and maybe even scale it in like that. Great. And then let's take, how should we do this? Let's take this. Let's go front view and go kind of like this. Yeah, we want it to flare out a little bit, just like that. Yeah, cool. Okay, great. Next up, let's just basically move this around so that we're not dealing with as much overlap and everything. So it helps if I look at this in non wireframe view. Like that. Cool. And then let's take this and maybe flare it out like this so that it sort of has a bit of more of a dynamic movement to it. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, I'm just generally roughing out how I want this kind of skirt to look, essentially. And then let's take this. Take this. Cool. Yeah, there we go. That's not bad at all. I think that looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Great. Now, let's add a subdivision, or let's add an extrusion here, as we always do, to give it that thickness for easy printing later. We'll scale this extrusion out a little bit like that, so that we don't have any overlapping faces. Maybe we'll even scale it out like this. And then we'll rotate in, kind of something like this. Cool, okay, great. Now, let's add a subdivision. Let's bump up the levels. And then let's add a edge loop. Let's add an edge loop here and here. Maybe even around here. Yeah, perfect. Add an edge loop right there. Something light. Yeah, maybe just like that with one loop. Perfect, cool. Perfect, that looks great. Now, I think most of the detail from this will come from the painting, if I'm honest with you. But if you wanted to kind of make this look a bit more like dynamic, I guess what you could do is start adding like little divots here and there to sort of imply some movement. Stuff like that. Let's drop one here and maybe like rotate this like that. Let's add an edge loop right here and like select this guy. Maybe move him in. Select this guy and move him out like this. Yeah, that sort of thing. You see how there's like a gentle crease in the clothing, in the cloth. I think if you wanted to do stuff like that, it might add a little bit of extra detail that helps bring your characters a little bit to life. Yeah. Perfect. Cool. I gotta bring this back up so that the overlap isn't too crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that looks great. And then, sorry, I'm just moving these around to get that draped effect, draped movement effect that I like. Cool. Yeah, that looks awesome. Okay, great. We're getting super close now. Next up, let's do the boots, and I think that'll be pretty much good enough. Good enough. I think actually maybe what might be nice is to add, let's do this. Let's add a cylinder. Let's add a simple cylinder so that it doesn't look like his torso or his belly button is showing too much. So we're going to scale this up like that. Scale it up like this. Yeah, perfect, cool. And then, honestly, we could probably even just scale it up, straight up. Something like that. Perfect. Let's add a little subdivide. And then let's draw a loop right there. Let's drop a loop right here. Maybe do something like this. Select these guys, bump that up a little bit. And there we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, the only reason I wanted to do that was because I wanted to, I felt like his bare mid-drift was showing a bit much, and that was just bothering me a little bit. So I decided to add this little cylinder here to hide that stuff. If you don't like it, you can hide it. Don't have to add this. But I wanted to do that for my own mental well-being. And yeah. All right, cool. Let's add one more edge loop here on his mid-drift. Maybe like right there. And call it a day. There we go. Bump this up to make it super smooth. And there you go. Cool. Nice. That's looking pretty sweet, I gotta say. It's looking pretty sweet. Now, to do the boots, we can actually probably retake this piece that we made before and essentially just duplicate it, right? Rotate here. Might have to hide this for a second. And we'll hide this for a second. And essentially just copy it right there. And maybe do a couple, let's make it kind of like riding boots, a little bit taller on his legs. And then do something like that. And then we'll modify this. Perfect, cool. Let's take these. Did I bevel these edges? I did. So let's take all these edges. Let's make sure we select all of them. And then we'll scale this up a little bit, just like that. Add another edge loop right here, maybe take it in a little. Yeah, cool, all right. Then let's select these edge loops again. Scale it on the Y so that it doesn't look too crazy like that. Maybe bring this down a little bit. Perfect, cool. All right, there you go. Kind of like a rough boot piece. Yeah, okay, great. Now let's bring back our elements. The main reason I'm not adding too much detail there is because it's going to be hidden by this cloth anyways. So we don't need to go over the top with the, don't need to go too crazy here. But if you wanted to, you could probably add a bit more, maybe some belts like this, for example. So let's take this motif and duplicate it here. Maybe we'll scale it like that. Bump this guy up a bit more. And then maybe, actually, that's not a too bad idea. Maybe I will GY that, and then scale Y like this, and then scale this up like that. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's, you know what, let's do that actually. Yeah, let's do a couple of belt loops right here. Maybe we'll do something like this to give it some variation. Maybe rotate this like that so it's not overlapping too hard. And then do it one more time up here. Let's do it one more time up here. Scale this guy up. Okay, cool, perfect. Awesome, sweet, that looks awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like leather belted armor. And then we can bring back all of our hidden mesh. Essentially it hides it like a little bit. I think I don't know if I need this. Okay, great. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good right now. You can leave this boot. You can leave this foot if you wanted to. I might add like a little, take this piece right here and do kind of like a little, might do something like this where it's kind of like a toe cap. But you could probably leave, you can just use what's in the base mesh if you wanted to. Again, I'm not trying to go crazy here and spend too much time going through all the details, because obviously I want you to be able to follow along in a reasonable amount of time. So let's take this right here. Let's take these pieces right here and turn back on all our stuff. And then let's just like rotate it around the foot like that. Yeah, cool. Kind of like a toe cap. A little bit of a toe cap, which I like. And then let's take this front edge right here and bring it forward. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like that. You know what? We could probably even, like, if we wanted to, we could probably extrude this bottom section to kind of make a trim around the foot. It ends up looking kind of weird, actually. Maybe not. So maybe instead what we'll do is let's take a plane. Let's make a cube, actually, and drop it right here. Scale down like that. Maybe scale it up. Go back like this and scale it along the Y. Yeah. Okay. Scale along the Y. Like this. A bit more. GX like that. And then I think what we'll do is just try and like make a basic shape, like a foot trim around the bottom. Okay, cool. Now let's take these vertices and go in like this. GX, GY, something like that. Take this guy. What would probably help is if we hit this. Yeah, take this guy, GY, GX. Take this guy, GY. Take this guy, GX, GY, GX, like that. And maybe finish with this one right here. Yeah, there we go. Kind of like just a rough trim of the character's foot. Yeah, just a little trim. Okay, great, cool. Let's take this and add a subdivision modifier to smooth it out. And then let's add some bevels around these edges, these top edges right here. Yeah, add a bevel right here. Add a bevel right here. Shoot. Yeah, just like that. And then I realized that you usually have a bit of a curve right here. So if we take these guys, maybe mold it around like that, it kind of follows the shape of a foot a bit more naturally. And there we go. Cool. I can bump this guy up a little bit. And there we go. I think that's looking pretty good. Cool. Cool. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. Increase the size of this a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Maybe decrease the size, the thickness of that a little, and then rotate this in. Let's do something like that. That's better. Perfect. Cool. Great. So now we basically got the full Ranger done. And now all we got to do is duplicate a lot of these. All we got to do is duplicate a lot of this mesh to the opposite side. So one tip we could do, let's save this. So one thing we could do is select everything and then go right click, convert to, and hit mesh. Once you've applied all your modifiers, what you can do is select these individual meshes, apply a new mirror here, and then mirror around a particular target, like that, just to get the perfect symmetry I was talking about earlier. And essentially what I'm going to do is go around, do that for every single one. And there you go. Now you've completed both sides of the character, the Ranger character. I think it looks pretty good. It looks like we've got some padded leather armor all over, sort of layers of leather armor. Got kind of like a riding skirt, some bolts on his glove, which look awesome. Obviously his elf ears. I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. The last thing you need to do, all you really need to do now is select the whole thing and do one last convert to, convert to, actually make sure you have at least one main thing selected. One last convert to mesh, and then you should be done. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you found it useful and you were able to follow along and make your own character or your own version. Drop any comments down below if you have any suggestions or tips or requests or questions. I'll try and get back to them or answer them as quickly as I can. And thanks for your time. I'll talk to you later. Okay? Bye. Thanks for watching the video. If you like my content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below what you want to see next, or just check out some of these other great videos. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you later.